We're at the Love and Inclusion exhibition. This is in City Hall. This is an exhibition that is on right now until the 11th of March. I'm just going to do a little walkthrough and show you what this is all about. Say hello.
Hi.
Hi, okay.
Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. These are the hard-working people at AIDS Concern. Mandy is on the left, that's right?
Hi.
And
yes.
Toby is on the right, yeah. So they're busy working away on their computers. This is the major sign, the main signboard as you come into the City Hall. There's artwork on the left and some artwork on the right hand side here. I'm going to try to hold my camera steady. This is actually the first time I'm doing this kind of thing, so bear with me. So this is my part. This is the Norm Yip wing. It's actually, they gave me quite a large space to have the show, and they did an excellent job of putting together the artworks. Just to slowly go through what's in the exhibition. Of course, this is the signage for myself. And I'm just going to go through the different pieces that are in the exhibition, which was chosen by Marco, one of the organizers, one of the main organizers behind the show. So here we have, this is Martine. I took this photograph in year 2000 using slide film. And just go closer to it. I'm going to try to avoid the reflection as much as possible. So this was actually done for a theater production. I don't remember the name of the theater production itself, but what they wanted was some artwork for the exhibition, for the theater production, in which case the protagonist was an artist herself. And the artwork was actually hung on the set. So the artwork came from a number of artists. I think there were at least 10 artists, I think, artworks that were in the set. And I was happy to include this, one of the photographs from Martine in the theater production. The thing is that this particular photograph was not the one that was shown, but it was from this series. But this is one of my favorites from the series that I took with her, who so gladly posed for me. It was actually in the days when digital was not around, so I didn't really know how it would turn out, but I knew my favorite film at the time and how it would work, and it turned out really good. It's kind of dreamy. It's a very dreamy feeling to it. It's like a painting. So just moving on. This piece here is called, you can take a look at it. It's creation not by chance. This is one of 3 artworks that utilizes image transfer. Basically, the black that you see on here is ink toner, and it's actually printed onto acetate, and then subsequently using acrylic, a clear acrylic gel, as a medium to transfer it onto the wood. The model here is, his name is Barry Lowe. I tried to get him to come to the opening, but he didn't show up. You can see can see a bit more of the three-dimensionality. Hopefully he will come to see the exhibition, and because this is his, he's a subject here. But let's move on. Here we have narcissists, and the model here is John Yip, who posed kindly for this shoot. I really like the angles and the way he's positioned himself and the contrast of light to dark. You get a close up. And this is using the same technique again of acrylic and image transfer. And now we're moving on to the artwork Heaven is Here, also using the mixed media and the image transfer technique. And try to get in close here. Give you a sense of how I did the piece. The tattoo on his arm. And if you look a little closer here, you can see my markings. I like using crosses and circles in my work. I will sometimes not put it on, but other times it feels appropriate to put the cross in the circle. The cross is sort of relating to, well, it has a lot of symbolic meanings, but I like to combine the two together. I don't know if you can see that clearly there, but I do like to combine the two. One is more about spirituality and one is about physicality. The physicality is represented by the cross, horizontal, vertical lines. Horizontal lines usually represents the feminine energy, and the vertical line is the masculine energy. And then the circle, of course, is very universal, and that is more the spiritual nature within each and every one of us. So this is Heaven is Here. And they did a really great thing. There's a QR code that they've added to all the cards, so that if you're interested in purchasing, just scan the QR code and it'll give you the price. Now moving on, this is probably one of the more iconic artworks that I have. For those that are familiar with my work, you'll know this is Milk Boy. I'm going to try to zoom in close to see how close I can get. I think that's about it. And this is no Photoshop. It's all done with 2 cartons of, I believe, full cream milk or full cream. I've had a lot of people make very interesting comments on this particular artwork, and some people have asked me if I could do it again. I said I don't think I can. I don't believe I can actually do this again. It's a one-shot only deal. So this is Milk Boy. So the one I have here that's shown is a small version, and of course I will have larger versions of this as well. That is on sale. So Milk Boy number 4 there's a red sticker on it, so someone's already picked this one up. I just found out today who the buyer was, and I won't mention the name here for privacy reasons, but thank you very much. You know who you are. And this is one of my energy paintings, energy drawings. This is done in a very short time. I kind of have to mentally prepare myself for doing these artworks. And it's basically about energy, vibration. You'll see another painting later on that's about energy and vibration as well. So this is really much about the same idea, but but in a concentrated ball of energy. Just moving on. This is an older piece. This is called Verge, and some people have mentioned that I'm crazy for doing this because I have these really fine white lines. I don't know if you can see that, but I have these fine white lines on this drawing, and this is actually produced by etching or scoring the paper before I apply the graphite. So this is called Verge, like on the verge, like sunrise, sunset. Very peaceful graphite piece done in 2000. I'm going to move over into this section now. I'll just give you a scan of the room. So just moving on to the next one. This is a piece I called Cornucopia in Victoria Park. And I was influenced by Cecily Brown I was kind of obsessed with her work because she incorporated human nude figures, male and female, and quite a lot of actually sexually suggestive drawings. I think she really loves sex, I imagine. And I thought I would try to just catch a little bit of that kind of energy into my work, and this is one of the pieces that came out. So I quite like the piece. It's got that sort of chaos, but an abstraction, and not being able to see things clearly, but then being able to discern some areas, like a body here or there. I'm trying to get up close so you can see a bit more. I'm trying to go fairly slow because I know that one of the people that I follow on YouTube is James Caan. I like his commentary. So this is really I sort of like a takeoff from a James Caan style, like coming into a gallery and talking about the artwork. So I guess the difference here is that I'm talking about my artwork, so I actually know the pieces very well. So this is sort of like borrowed from him. So thank you, James. I don't know if you'll ever get to see this, but thanks to you. This is how I'm kind of approaching it. Handheld. This is another piece. It's called. I'll pull out from it. Let's see, so you get a sense of it. One of the ladies here really loves this piece. Some people, this piece, some people love it or they hate it. So I quite like it myself. It's different than the one over there, which we just saw. Cornucopia in Victoria Park is like daytime. I think the focusing is not quite working. Okay, and then here, this is like nighttime. Reminiscent of partying, my party days. So a lot of bodies just kind of piled up on one another. And this is entitled The Pleasure Factory. So you can see a lot of bodies, very suggestive, but never in your face. It's always kind of like sort of hidden. There's a Cezanne kind of feeling someone mentioned to me. I said, okay, yeah, there is a bit of Cezanne in this. But yeah, I just tried to get as many bodies kind of interacting with one another. I'm going to zoom up close with one another, and I limited the colors to more of the gray, light gray, and slight pinkish kind of colors. But there's always like these other specks of color that come out too, like that little light green, maybe a bit of blue, light blue coming on. Yeah, so moving on. I'm going to make the exposure a little bit brighter because this is a fairly dark piece with this lighting. This one is called Dark Matter Unveiled. This is from my series, The Vibratory Field, where everything is about vibration and the energy flowing in and out. So it's like a landscape, I guess. It's somewhat impressionistic or pointillistic. So, and moving on here, let's see, let's get that in focus. I'm going to pull out. This is called Le Tourbillon. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but Le Tourbillon de la Vie. The title is actually given by my friend. She helped me come up with it. The whirlwind or the vortex of life. This is actually my latest work in this exhibition. This was done in 2017. I had gone through a rather traumatic experience that happened in October of last year, and it kind of released another side of me, and I started to express myself in a slightly different way than I had before. And so I just took that energy, that experience, and brought it into my work. But there is some work that I did before that was done just before this painting that really tells a bit more about what happened. But this was sort of like the paintings, one of the paintings that came out from that experience. But I actually quite like it, and actually I'll show you here. I'm quite proud of this because I started, because of that experience, all the paintings, all my artwork now will have my Chinese name, which is Fong. That's my artist name. So it's all the work that I'll just show you quickly here. All the work that predates it are signed with YIP, Yip. So works that come into this realm, into this time period, will all be signed with my Chinese name, Yip Fong. Okay, so I think I have about a minute and a half, so I have to finish this off before the 20-minute time limit is up. But this one is called Navigation. This is an old piece done in 2001. So this is during the time, for those that you might remember it, it's done during the time of Melly Mellow days, one of the early, during one of the early sessions when we did art jamming. So if you've heard of the word art jamming, I was one of the co-founders of doing these art jams in Hong Kong, in a small place in Sheung. So navigation, I have an interest in Mondrian and cities and stuff like that. So this is one of the pieces that I thought showed my direction during that time. It shows the layering. I did several of these, but this is one of the ones they chose for this exhibition. I thought, okay, I'll come out with it. I actually had to retouch it because some parts had gotten a little scuffed up having it sit in my studio for for rather a long time, for about 8 years. I'm just going to pull up and show you some details. Some areas had gotten a little scuffed up, and so I just retouched them, retouching my own paintings. Kind of prettied up some areas too. Now when I look at it in this setting, it's I have to say I'm actually quite impressed myself. So I am influenced by Mondrian's work. I'm also interested by influenced by the Russian constructivists, their geometric kind of forms. So I thought I have to do some pieces that sort of reflect my early interest. For those that don't know, I worked as an architect for about 5 years in Hong Kong, but then realized that that architecture wasn't my thing. I had to get out of it, and so I moved into painting and photography. Okay, we're going to move to the last piece on show. And this is can you see that? Yeah, it's in focus. This is called Tai Po trees. There's an area in Hong Kong called Tai Po, and I was out one day and I looked up and I saw this composition of branches and trees that absolutely beautiful. I took a photograph. I think I took several photographs and then pieced it together later on to create a fairly detailed photograph. So you actually don't need the super high resolution camera to create something like this. And then you just use Photoshop to merge the images together. And subsequently, very simply just make photo gradients. Create a photo gradient that works with the image. I didn't want to make this piece too dark, like that. I didn't want the reds to become too dark, otherwise it would get too bloody looking. If you do come to this exhibition, it is you'll see what I mean, and I hope the color comes off good on here. This is actually purchased by someone else, so I just asked if I could borrow it for the exhibition. But certainly this is on sale, and if you would like the next edition, that can certainly be done. But anyway, going back to the piece itself, the colors kind of iridescent and somewhat surreal. We don't see this in nature. And we can do this in photography quite easily. I'm really reserved or hesitant about going too much into this iridescent color schemes, because I think maybe I saw too much bad imagery on the internet where it just kind of cheapened photography. But I think in this particular case, because of the filigree and because of the composition and the exoticness of the tree branches, it did work. And maybe I will pursue this further in my future work. We'll see. My work kind of gravitates between, well, it does gravitate between painting and photography. Right now I'm very much into the painting side versus the photography side, but I go back and forth. I think I need that kind of variety, and Hong Kong provides that kind of variety for me in terms of inspiration. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for listening.